Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Transfer Tuesday. This is actually our last Transfer Tuesday session. And I just quickly want to introduce the three of us here at Leeward/Manoa. I want to introduce Amy McKee. She's the UH Mnoa Transfer Specialist with the Ka'i'i program. She's also assigned to Leeward Community College, so she sees a lot of our Leeward transfer students. I want to introduce Jordan Luton. She's our Leeward Community College online counselor. So she sees a lot of our students who are in the accelerated online program, as well as other students who have questions about enrolling at Leeward and transferring. And my name is Laurie Labarros, and I'm a Leeward CC counselor as well. So thank you for being here. We welcome you. Our session today will include two fantastic speakers. We're so excited to have Dr. Kiana and Dr. Bernadette. So Dr. Kiana she's coming from the Pre-Health, Pre-Law Advising Center. So she will be speaking on lots of different things on with students who are interested in going into the health field or law. The speaker she's actually going first is going to be Dr. Bernadette Gonzalez, and she's from the honors program at UH Mānoa. Dr. Bernadette, did you want to go first?
Yeah, no problem. Could I share my screen? I've got a PowerPoint that...
Yeah, you know, we have just a few more announcements and then we'll go ahead and get started.
Perfect.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So I'll introduce Amy from here.
Thank you. All right, thank you so much, everybody, for joining us today. Before we get started with our presentation, I just wanted to share some information about UH Mānoa. So the University of Hawaii at Manoa was founded in 1907 and is considered a land, sea, space, and sun grant institution. We offer over 100 undergraduate bachelor's degrees for you to choose from, as well as many graduate and professional degrees, including law, medicine, business, engineering, social work, education, and no, I might be forgetting one, but we do have many professional degrees for you to choose from. We are also the flagship campus in the University of Hawaii system, an NCAA Division I school, highly ranked Research 1 institution, and we strive towards being a native Hawaiian place of learning. If you're thinking about transferring to UH Mānoa within the next 1 to 2 years, we'd love for you to consider joining the Ka'i'i program. The Ka'i'i program is a partnership between UH Mānoa and the community colleges, and we help students transfer smoothly and efficiently towards UH Mānoa by providing proactive academic advising, waiving the $70 application fee, providing the opportunity to take Manoa classes, and giving you early registration when you start at Manoa. Please let me know in the chat if you're interested in joining the program. It's free to join, and you just need to have at least 24 transferable credits, a 2.0 GPA, and at least 1 more semester remaining at the community college. So again, feel free to message me if you would like to know more about the program. And so without further ado, we'll turn over to our first speaker, Dr. Bernadette Gonzalez.
Can you hear me okay? And can you see my screen?
Yep, we hear you great, and your screen looks awesome.
All right. So thank you again for having me. I'm really excited to solidify more partnerships with our transfer folks and honors. We see a lot of transfer students coming into honors, and particularly they are well supported when they are coming through the Ka'i'i program because there's just a great deal more alignment and integration with the goals that we have for our students. So honors at UH Mānoa works as a sort of like an academic vitamin for the coursework and the academic pathway that you decide to embark on at UH. Typically, our students take some honors classes. If you are coming in as a sophomore or a junior as a transfer student, there is typically one additional honors elective that you take, and then the rest of the kind of coursework you do is really dedicated towards pulling together, designing and executing, writing up an honors project, a capstone that is specific to your major. So that can look like you know, a creative thesis, a research thesis. It can look like a portfolio that pulls together different kinds of skills or areas of expertise that are typical in your field. So it can look like a number of different things, and there's some flexibility in what that might look like, because we have a wide range of majors at UH Mānoa. Our honor students do different kinds of work, and it's always really exciting to see the kinds of work that they do. And I'll just kind of flip through some slides here. We have students going to Antarctica, to Europe, to Asia, to do the kinds of research that they do. Obviously, under COVID conditions, this is a little different this year, but our students are still managing to do really creative and really undergraduate defining kinds of work that help them get a sense of who they are and what they're capable of as undergrads, which can be a real huge boost to the confidence of our students. We have students working in labs. We have students putting together portfolios who are pre-ed, wannabe teachers. We have, I saw the list of possible majors that we have who are attending. We have honors tracks in nursing. We have, honors tracks in majors that tend to be pre-law. We have, we're just working with social work now to create a more robust partnership with them. So we do have all these kinds of support systems in place for students across majors to do the kind of higher level undergraduate work that they would want to do. So the honors upper division track is actually designed for the transfer student. We have a 4-year track, but that's not going to be what I talk about today. We're going to talk about the upper division track. So the coursework for that involves 1 3-credit course, typically an honors 491, but there's a lot of different substitutions that we typically work out depending on the student's course load. And then at sometime in the junior year, early or late junior year, the student designs and submits the proposal for their honors project. We do have a class for this. It is not required. There's a number of different ways that students come to the writing of the honors proposal. So we honor those different pathways, but the proposal is what is due at the end of the day. And then we have the upper division electives, which is honors 496 or a 499 in the major, right? So if you're a bio major, if you're pre-med, or you're nursing, there are actual classes that identify the 3 credits that are dedicated towards your honors project. So some majors already have these types of capstones built in, and so we recognize those, and those will count. So at the end of the day, we don't care what that number, what that credit looks like, as long as you're doing work towards your senior honors project. That is typically 3 credits per semester in the final year. And then you present at our undergraduate showcase, and then the materials are reviewed by Honors Council. So that's a sort of very broad process. That's what it looks like if you wanted to do honors. The benefits of honors is that you graduate with an honors diploma in transcript notation. That's sort of like the basic level. Your diploma will say BA in biology with honors. And on the transcript, it will say that you graduated with honors. There's an honors community that we are building, even under COVID conditions. We've been having a Zoom pauhana every couple of weeks just to gather about different kinds of resources and create conversations about student concerns on campus. The biggest thing I would say is the opportunity to build close relationships with the mentors that you're working with, and to have the kind of support on the honors end to really buttress that kind of the process of doing your own project, and that opportunity to do higher level work in your own major enables you to kind of really see what you're capable of. And I think that that is the biggest benefit for honors, is that you really get a sense of what you can do and how you can take ownership of your academic career, right? Many of you will have, when you register for classes, you have the list of classes that you have to take to get your major and to graduate. But what honors adds to that is the ability to kind of make it unique and personal to you, and allow you to kind of follow a passion in what you are interested in specifically in your major, to do some deeper exploration in that topic, or in whatever particular area you want to get to know better, so that it might benefit you down the line for grad school or kind of thing. We do have small classes and very personalized advising in honors, so you get the benefit of that as well. So it's just some like pretty slides. These are, we do have an honors dorm, but I think it's transfer students. I don't think many of you would be dorming anyway, and I think it's only primarily for first year students. We encourage our students to present their work, to be public facing in their work, because our students really do pretty amazing work. So we have an undergrad showcase that allows our students to present their work. This is open to everybody too, not just honor students at the end of every semester. So I invite you to come. I think the one for this semester is on December 11th, and it's online, so it's easily viewable. You get a chance, you can go to our website and find the information for this. You get a chance to see what kind of work our students are doing at UH Mānoa, not just honor students again. We encourage our students to present at conferences. This is Carrie Noe from a couple years ago, and she presented a project in virtual reality, which she put together with different research teams that she was working with, and she created virtual reality programming. And actually she won a poster prize at the National Collegiate Honors Council conference. So we have a number of pretty amazing students. So a lot of the ways in which you see the benefits of honors manifest are acceptances into grad schools that are, you know, like where you're funded. It looks great for med school, for instance. We see a number of students being able to kind of leverage that into future work, especially graduate and professional level work. Honors also sponsors the Manoa Horizons Journal for undergraduate creative and research work. So this is an opportunity, again, not just for honor students and not just for Manoa students. Actually, we would love to see submissions from across the UH system, but this publishes undergraduate work. So I'll skip that one because that's not there. And our honors program, while small, is actually pretty competitive nationally. For 4 out of the last 5 years, we have had a Ports Prize winner, which means it is this person is a nationally recognized undergraduate in honors. We submit their thesis, and 4 out of the last 5 years, UH Mānoa has had a placement, and they only name 4 or 5 a year. So we do pretty well. The students at UH Mānoa are really well mentored, and if you're able to get into honors and able to find a project and a faculty mentor, our students really turn in pretty incredible work. It's always really humbling and fun at the end of the semester to see all this stuff come together. So, you know, everything from, again, sciences to, we had a student publishing her creative thesis as a novel the following year. So that was pretty cool. And let's see, this is one of our poster sessions at the showcase. And we typically have an in-person grad tea. I didn't put our latest Zoom grad teas because we've had a couple, one graduation over Zoom, and we'll have another this December. So is honors for transfer students? The short answer is yes. There are specific challenges to transfer students, right? Because you're coming into a new institution and you kind of have to hit the ground running. One of the things that is our transfer students have found difficult to do unless they sort of plan ahead and start contacting possible people that they might want to work with is finding research opportunities, right? Finding faculty mentors to work with. So planning well ahead, contacting us well ahead of the game is helpful because we can start directing you to possible folks to be in contact with. We could even maybe get you to, like right now is an ideal time because a lot of the classes are online. So you might be able to take an honors class online and help you kind of create a relationship with a possible mentor down the line, or again, that networking needs to happen a lot sooner for our transfer students. So that's been the biggest obstacle. It's not insurmountable, but it is there. But there are also really wonderful opportunities for our transfer students. One is the Presidential Scholarship. So the Presidential Scholarship is now an honors scholarship. So you have to be in honors to be eligible for the Presidential Scholarship. So applying to honors early, getting into the honors cycle earlier than you would otherwise be thinking about it is great because it does make you eligible as a Presidential Scholarship student. And that pays for 4 full semesters of tuition and fees. So there, I've placed the link here. I don't know if it works. It doesn't work. Whatever. But you can find it on our website. There is a link to that and the application and the information about the presidential scholarship. So that is only for UH transfer students, I believe. And then you apply, there's a deadline that is stated on our website right now. Ignore it. Contact me if you have questions. We're still working out the cycle really for transfer students, and because transfer students typically interview with me and make appointments with me, I get to just say, don't worry about the deadline, right? But all of the information is on our website in terms of applying and contacting folks. Happy to answer any questions either now or after Dr. Shiroma has presented. That's it.
Great, Bernadette, I think we'll go ahead and do some questions now since there's some in the Q&A. So the first question that we have here is, what are the pre-med or biology majors honors courses? Okay, so there are no specific courses for pre-med or biology. There's sort of like a generic selection of courses. This coming spring, we do have courses that many of our pre-med and biology students are particularly interested in. We have an Honors 291, which is a lower division class, but I've actually allowed some of our upper division transfer students who are pre-med and pre-bio to take that class instead because it's just such a great fit, right? So we're not hard and fast with the rules in honors because we have that flexibility. So there's one focus on the US healthcare system, which is run out of the Center on Aging, a professor and her team from the Center for Aging. And there's one on food and the gut microbiome. So some of the students are really interested in that one as well. So we have a range of classes that the 291 sophomore seminar and the 491 junior seminar typically will have some really interesting topics. And we try to make them as interesting to the student body that we do have in honors as possible. Very cool. Thank you. All right, next question. Can someone join honors from outer islands before transferring to Manoa?
Usually not, right? You can start the process and you can start the application, but the honors, the official honors joining doesn't happen until you are actually at Manoa as a student. But that is something that we haven't, I don't know what the mechanics of that would be, to be honest, because usually what we get are the list of students who've been already accepted into Manoa, and then we recruit from there. But we've been doing a lot more of this outreach where, you know, we're reaching out through the transfer center to students who are still in honors. I have zero against students being able to take honors classes. So if you need an honors override to check it out, come talk to me.
Love it. Perfect. Awesome. All right. And then one more question.
I have a follow-up.
Oh, go ahead, Amy.
Sorry, I have a follow-up to that question. Can students do honors online? Like, let's say they're going to be living on the outer islands for the next couple of years. When they transfer to Manoa, can they do it online?
So it's, I think because of COVID, because of our online class availability in the next just semester and maybe into the summer, there's a possibility of some of those honors classes being able to be taken online if they come in as honors students. But ultimately, you know, when students come to Manoa, there is an expectation that they are actually physically here for a portion of that time. And especially for students in the sciences who are typically doing work in labs with professors here, right? Working at the Cancer Center or at JABSOM Medical School, or you know, different kinds of professor team labs that are set up. It's really important for those folks to be here, right? So I could see it working for some students depending on the major, but for others, less so. So it's not a hard and fast no, it's a case by case kind of thing.
Great. Okay, and then we have another one. So as a student applying for the Presidential Scholarship, which requires an application to the honors program, will it be difficult to tackle creating a project in addition to being a part of the nursing program?
We do have a nursing honors track, right? So you would have to be admitted to nursing and to the nursing honors track in order to be admitted to honors, because they have a very, they sort of have a bottleneck in nursing at UH Mānoa, as we know, right? There's like a lot of students at the freshman, sophomore level, and then it kind of gets really narrow really quickly. And so we work very closely with their nursing advisor, Dr. Alice, and she and I talk a lot about which students that are already in nursing and also in honors are the ones we're going to be jointly mentoring. So, so it's a little bit more of a difficult question with nursing because it's so crowded, but the honors track that we've laid out with nursing lays out exactly the coursework that you would need to be taking in nursing that would also count towards your senior honors project. So it's not necessarily on top of, it's fitting into what is already there.
Perfect.
So,
I think
and we try to do that with a lot of the more crowded majors, right? So we don't necessarily add a lot more electives. We're working with what already exists. So again, it's a case-by-case basis for each major.
perfect. Okay. And then I think I'm going to try to combine these other two questions. So if you could talk about the interview process, if there is one, and then where they can go and find honors program, or I'm sorry, honors courses, because we're getting some questions about are there specific honors programs or courses that focus on different questions like cognitive philosophy or marketing, right? So how they can identify. Yeah.
So, so our honors classes are always listed on our website. You can also find them, but they're not as descriptive under the UH course availability list so you'll see one for honors along with all the other majors. So these are any classes with HON in front of them. But once you are in honors, you also get the newsletter, which has the descriptions of each of those courses, because the honors 291 and the honors 491 will shift in topic every semester, right? And some of them will fulfill biology requirements. Some of them will fulfill different distribution requirements. And so this semester we have a number of different kinds of things, and we're hoping to enrich that more because we're starting a new program with the vice, I don't know what their official names are, the soon-to-be Vice Provost of Academic Excellence. We're starting a teaching fellowship which will help recruit instructionally excellent teachers into teaching honors and interdisciplinary studies, which is the other thing. And so those courses do change every semester. And part of the advising that we do is helping direct students towards certain things. So they're not necessarily specific honors, major specific honors courses, right? We have folks from the sciences teaching in honors, but we push all of our instructors to teach in an interdisciplinary fashion because that is the name of the game in honors. And it is, we also want for our honors students, say in English, to be able to take a 491 that has a science basis because maybe they're interested in figuring out how they can look at this science topic and pull like sci-fi out of it, right? So a lot of our students approach a topic through their particular disciplinary lens, but the course itself we encourage to be taught in a very interdisciplinary fashion. Was there a question about the application interview thing? Okay, yeah. So the application is online. So it's an online application. There is a required letter of recommendation as part of that application. It's very short. There's just like a short essay, a couple of short things that we want to know about you. It's also a way for us to get to know if you can write, because you'll do a lot of writing in honors. In the end, you will write a thesis, or you will write, you will put together a portfolio that still requires writing, right? So the ability to write well and clearly is something that we do look for. Once that part one of the application is complete, the online sort of application plus the letter of recommendation, you're prompted to schedule an appointment with me to do an honors interview. So there is an interview process. It's mostly just kind of getting a sense of who you are, what you're interested in. You know, there's no, like, I'm not trying to trip anybody up. It's just really me trying to get a sense of who you are and why you would want to do this, right? And to also answer any questions you have. And then to kind of specifically talk about what your pathway might look like so that you can make an informed decision about whether you would want to do honors or not.
That's perfect. Thank you.
Sure.
All right. And then I guess the last question would be about when the timeline is to apply.
So I think it always depends. Sooner is better, just because it gets you into our program and it gets you, like, we start counting you as an honor student, even if you're not officially at Mānoa. And you start getting, you know, you get like our newsletters, you get our announcements, you get a sense of what the rhythm of the semester will look like for each student. And you get to talk to us sooner and start planning earlier. And because you are transfer students and have that additional sort of obstacle of having to hit the ground running when you come to UH Mānoa, right? And not necessarily knowing the faculty in your own department as well, then this, I would say earlier is always better. Even if it's not the complete application, just having a conversation early on about like what the possibilities would be for each of you. And every student is different. We sort of have a generic student in mind when we, you know, when we create the plan for graduation or for honors, but every student is super, super unique. So it's really important that you come in for the one-on-one conversation, even if it's just exploratory. And 1 semester ahead of time is not too soon now.
Okay, perfect.
I have a question. What advice would you give for students who are considering joining the honors program? Maybe they're about like a year out from transferring. Like, do you recommend doing some writing intensives or maybe doing the community college honors program?
You know, we don't actually, we've reached out to the community college honors programs, and they're really different across the board. So it's not necessarily, you know, like, I think that they just provide some additional different kinds of honors experiences, but the honors experience at Mānoa is very specific because it's really tied to an upper division kind of student-led designed project, right? And so in that sense, it's quite different from taking honors level courses or honors coursework as a freshman or sophomore, which is what our freshmen and sophomore do when they come in as honors students, as first-year students at Mānoa. So when you're coming in as a transfer student, the landscape looks really different, right? And so just kind of getting ahead of the game in terms of contacting folks early, looking at what kinds of classes you're interested in, looking at looking at, you know, your potential major ahead of time, and thinking about who might you want to work with, what kind of research do those faculty in that department do, or faculty in related departments. So if you're pre-med and you're thinking, you know, you don't have to be a bio major to be pre-med. I've had English, French majors, art majors be pre-med, and they get successfully admitted to competitive programs, right? Because it's not about the major, it's about how you do. And so, and I'm sure Dr. Shiroma will talk about this. And so, you know, getting a chance to kind of really look at who those folks are in your departments or related departments that you might want to work with, and the kind of research that they do, getting to understand, you know, so look at the newsletters for each program, look at their websites, read the faculty profiles, and kind of, you know, it doesn't hurt to contact folks and say, I'm thinking about transferring to Mānoa. I'm really interested in your research. How could I prepare myself so that I can come in and, you know, would you be willing to meet with me? So the student who's proactive about that kind of thing will be the student who is most successful, not just at Mānoa, but in honors, you know, and life in general. So. A question about, should we know who we want to work with before we apply? It helps, but you don't have to. And it will depend major to major, right? I would say that the majors that require placements and labs and that kind of work, it really helps. The liberal arts majors, less so, because you can kind of jump in and be more independent with the kind of project you do, because you don't require infrastructure. You know, you can't run a chemistry lab out of your dorm room. I don't know that anyone has tried, right? But there are certain kinds of things, certain kinds of research that you cannot do on your own versus other kinds of research that you can do on your own are more portable. So again, it really depends on the student and their major.
Thank you. And sorry, one more question. I just keep coming up with them.
Sure.
So I have a lot of students who are interested in, and were offered to join Phi Theta Kappa. Could you talk a little bit about like, what does it mean to be in an honors society and how it's different or similar to like the honors program?
It's funny because we get that question a lot. There's a misconception that the honors program at UH is a club, and it's not. It's an academic program in the sense that, well, it doesn't grant a major. It works to integrate with your major to create sort of higher level work. So it's different from a club, right? Or so some honors programs run that way. Some honors clubs run that way. Societies run that way, where it's a club, it's a membership. You do different kinds of community work, etc. Right? There is one that is by invitation only called Phi Beta Kappa, and we do work with Phi Beta Kappa to make sure that the honor students that are on their list for induction every year make sure to accept that, because students don't know, but a Phi Beta Kappa invitation is pretty prestigious. So that is the one that we work with. But there are also honors societies and clubs that are specific to each major, and each of those will be different. And we don't have anything to do with those, actually. But many students might get an opportunity through those organizations to present their work. We had, for instance, somebody who graduated this spring who was working on her honors thesis for her honors history major, but she got a prize through her honors society, but we had nothing to do with it. But she was able to use the same project that she did for honors history as the submission for her history honors society. If that makes sense. So there's some overlap, but we don't run any of it. We only really interact with Phi Beta Kappa.
Thank you. It looks like Jordan, looks like we pretty much addressed all the chat or Q&As. Okay. Dr. Bernadette, is there any other closing?
No, I invite all the students who are interested in honors or have any questions. You can make an appointment with me very easily online through our website. So there's an advising tab and you can find me on it. And basically you can just set up an appointment very easily through that.
Thank you so much.
Or if it's a short question, thank you for putting my email on there. Yes, you can send me an email for short, quick questions. I will not type paragraphs.
Okay. Thank you. Such a hidden gem. Thank you so much.
It really is. It really is.
Yeah. Thank you. So
thank you again to Dr. Shriram and Dr. Gonzalez for joining us today for our last Transfer Tuesday. And thank you so much to all of you for joining in as well. We are going to keep running this series throughout the spring semester, so be sure to keep an eye on your email for our next slate of offerings. If you have any questions, please feel free to add them to the chat. Jordan and I will probably stay on for a couple more minutes if anybody wants to talk. All right, stay safe, everyone.
Thanks for having us.
And then